Hey guys, this is Flash coming at you with my last Yahoo Fantasy Football Pro League draft recap. Tonight I'm going to teach you how to win your draft from the number 6 spot, a spot that produced the most league winners last year, because if you had this spot in 2018, you were drafting either Zeke, Alvin Kamara, Saquon Barkley, maybe DeAndre Hopkins. All were better selections than David Johnson, Antonio Brown, of course Le'Veon Bell, so we'll see if you get if you get a pick in the middle section of a draft, snake draft. You're really in a good spot because you're not exposed to position runs. Chances are you can nail the guys you're targeting. You don't have to reach as far. So there's some benefits, even though you're furthest away from the turn. So I went with David Johnson. Got plenty of DeAndre Hopkins last time when I did 2 drafts at once. Remember that? Went Juju. With my next pick, I went ahead and went Juju over Odell because I felt that Juju is going to assume that Antonio Brown role. He knows the offense. Odell, there's going to be plenty of adjustment. There's going to be a learning curve and injury risk. I think the injury risk with Odell is higher than with Juju, so I think Juju's the better pick if you had to choose between Odell and Juju. That's my opinion. When Gurley, number 3, I feel like I got a decent discount with him. Not the greatest discount because I got him at in the low 30s in my second draft, late July. He's come up a little bit since because I think a lot of people are not as big on Darrell Henderson, so it's hard to get him past pick 25, but I was really happy with my first 3 picks, Juju, DJ, and Gurley. I know Gurley, there's risk there, but I think the risk is offset enough by his upside and the fact that his ceiling is top 2, top 3. If his injury can cooperate, that's a big if, it's a big assumption, but he can outproduce his ADP, and that's the kind of guy you want to target. I think his floor is decent enough to get around 25. So went with Amari Cooper, spreading out that bye week. Always great to look at down at your first 4 picks, your core 4, your core 5, and you see different buys, so you're not exposed to a certain week where you're going to be the clear underdog. Of course, you could draft a killer bench, and that's another thing. Some people don't put a lot of priority or emphasis on bye week spread. I do. Because it's just, to me, it represents balance. Okay, so I was surprised. The clock is winding down here. Sorry, having to do the 600x speed because I recorded the whole draft. Don't have time to cut and paste because, it's more monotonous when you're in the middle section of the draft than with the turn. A lot more editing. So Woods was still available at pick 46. So yes, decided I would get the discount, get the value there, and maybe I could flip him because I got too many shares of Woods, to be honest. And if he busts, then 20%, a quarter of my teams will be affected. So, in my player queue, I got some players that I'm hoping to add. I really like Geis. Geis has really grown on me in recent weeks, and I feel bad. I only got him in 1 team so far. So, spoiler alert, I'm not going to get him, and partly because I was surprised that some other players were still on the board. So who did I go with here? I decided to punt tight end for a little bit. Josh Gordon, affected by Antonio Brown. I think Josh Gordon will do well. I went Phillip Lindsay here first, but I guess I kind of previewed my next pick. Gordon was still on the board. Drake is growing on me some. Drake and Geis and Breda all have grown on me, and I wish what I know about them now, I wish I would have known a month ago. But you really could have gotten some discounts on them because Drake was really plummeting early August, mid-August. So the clock's winding down. I'm actually gonna get Breeze because my idea here is to trade Juju, Woods to the Michael Thomas owner, plus another piece to balance out the trade, so I can pair Thomas with Breeze. I know Breeze is on the downswing of his career, but if I like the bounce back potential because I feel like last year represented the floor of Breeze and the Saints, and I think that a lot of people are saying they're going to struggle after another deflating postseason appearance. I think they're going to come out maybe not like gangbusters, but they're going to find their stride, and when they hit it in the regular season, they're going to do well. I think even though they're a border playoff team, but I think they're going to really have to fight to make the playoffs this year. Because I think the Bucs are quickly coming up from the dweller. I think that their division could be separated by only 2-3 games. So It's going to be very tight, and I think the Saints are going to have to really be in desperation mode, so I think that really brings the best out of them. And Kamara's 1 year better. Most people are going to be capitalizing on him, so maybe Michael Thomas does well in the receiving game, and Breeze has better stats. It's certainly possible, but I didn't have Breeze on any other team, so I wanted to at least target that. So I was really surprised that Josh Gordon was still available at pick 86. I mean, his ADP is 80, but he was going in the 60s prior to the AB news. So I got a great discount on Gordon from his recent ADP. If you take his ADP average from the past couple of weeks, I would say it's between 60 and 70, somewhere in that range. So getting him 2 rounds later, I think Josh Gordon benefits because he's going to have more space, less targets. Everyone's going to swarm AB. Maybe Edelman. He is a great wide receiver 3 on his own team. So Josh Gordon, to me, high upside wide receiver 2. Njoku, got him a round after his ADP. That's great. So I got Njoku at my tight end. Lindsey, Drake. Couldn't get Geis, but so I'm really liking this team and also my ideas for this team. If I can't get Michael Thomas, Juju is still, I could see Juju outscoring Michael Thomas. Not out of the realm of possibility. So I like correlation. I like QB ones with their wide receiver ones if they rank in the top 2 rounds. But no sweat, because last year my team with Breeze and Thomas, because it was a down year for the Saints, or at least for Breeze anyway. Well, Breeze did affect Thomas. He was up and down, so that team got into the playoffs barely thanks to Amari Cooper. It's interesting how I got Cooper, and if I get Michael Thomas and Breeze, I get a core to my team that really had one of the best last week of the regular season performances in the history of fantasy football. For me personally, that Amari Cooper 3 touchdown game. The last second, was it versus the Giants or the Eagles? I think it was the Eagles. Crazy game, mid-December last year. So just at this point, fleshing out my team. I'm big on Walker as a tight end too. If you don't get a tight end in the first 6-7 ranking spots, I like getting Walker as a backup, even though there is some injury risk. I think he is. I'm a Titans fan, so I know there's some bias here, but comeback player of the year potential. If all goes well, best case scenario unfolds in Nashville. Sorry. Pat Mayo Hour was trying to figure out if cussed, what cussed meant, because it doesn't mean cursed. Sorry. Random, you have to know the Pat Mayo lingo to understand that. So, all right. Sorry, I'm watching a movie at this point, so I'm trying to enjoy a movie and draft at the same time. I know a lot of you are multitaskers. So this was what I was doing. I got Goff. I know same bye week as Breeze, but chances are I wanted to pair Goff with Gurley, and if I need to, if he's not doing so well, or if someone gets hurt, which is bound to happen by the time bye week 9 gets there, I could just put a guy in IR. If I could do a 2-for-1 or 3-for-2 trade, I could open up a spot and maybe flip Breeze or Goff if they're underperforming. To make sure I get a QB with a different bye week. So I don't advise getting 2 QBs with the same bye week, but again, sometimes it's hard to just ignore the value and the discount, and you just plan to make a move and see what. Again, I know it's hard to make trades out there. It's one of the hardest things to do in all fantasy, especially is to make trades in fantasy football. But Tucker, LA Rams, got them at good prices. So really liking this team. I didn't win the draft per Yahoo standards, but definitely I believe I'm projected to get a first or second ranking. I can't remember. So I drafted well. Most projected points. I think I'm somehow, due to my schedule, I'm projected to come out second with this team. So, all right. Well, that's about it. Hope you guys enjoyed watching and just not only this particular vid, but my string of vids. You could watch the prior 7. I'll try and link them up through various cards and end screen prompts. So I hope you guys, if you're doing some last minute drafting, this helps. But the real season starts today. That Bears-Packers game was such a joke, such a dud. I knew it would be a defensive slugfest, but 10-3, come on. It was just a repeat of Super Bowl. The last 2 NFL games outside of preseason have been really poor and disappointing. It's just, you'd want to just move on from them, and hopefully there'll be some entertaining, exciting games, and we will get a better idea. I don't plan to do any more draft recaps, but I might add some do some mid-season updates or something like that. I'm not a fantasy sports channel. I'm just offering some advice from the side as bonus content. So, all right, guys, enjoy the rest of the day. Enjoy the football games. I'll catch you on the fly. Peace.